YouTube, man. What is up with y'all? Holy shit. Damn, it's good to be back. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy making these videos, and y'all went fucking bananas on the last video. Like, I was so surprised. I didn't expect it to do that well, but it ended up doing really good, and it just makes me want to upload more. So I appreciate you all. We got some good things coming here in the future. I'm gonna give you guys some videos. Today we got the best type of point guard builds to make, and then we got the best type of forwards. I'm gonna have a video for that, and I'm gonna have a video for the best type of bigs to make. Like 2K25 right around the corner, you know, it's right there, and I'm just excited for this game to come out. I can't lie. So once again, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and turn them post notifications on so you don't miss when I upload. I'm gonna be streaming a lot, I'm gonna be uploading a lot, so you guys make sure you do not miss that. When the game comes out first day, I'm not even going to be playing Park or anything that much, to be honest. I'm gonna be in the builder, I'm gonna stream it so you guys can see, go through and make some builds with you guys, try to make my build. That's what the bulk of that stream is going to be me making my build. You'll see how long I take. I'm gonna start out from the very beginning, what I like to do every 2K. I'm not going to turn that game on and play it without streaming it. So y'all make sure you got them post notifications on and you're ready, and you pull up to the stream so you can kick it with your boy. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn them post notifications on, man. But up first today, we're going to talk about making my favorite type of build, the guard. You know, it's you got everybody got to have a guard. I'm not gonna lie. If you want to have some fun, you got to make a guard. That's just the way to go. You can have fun on other builds, don't get me wrong, but I like to play 1v1s, which is one thing we're going to get into. We're going to make a guard for the 1v1 court for Park. We're going to make a guard for Rec. We're going to go through all three of those, and I'm going to tell you the best type of builds you can make when it comes to those three game modes. And up first, we're going to talk about 1v1s. Now, the reason I want to go with 1v1s first is because I feel like, and hear me out, people can try to say 1v1s don't take any skill, but in my opinion, 1v1s take the most skill. One, you got to be able to play defense. You don't have any bailout teammates. And two, you got to know how to get your own bucket. So I think that's really how you get nice at the game. Like, I'm sick nasty at this game, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not saying I'm like super comp or anything, because I'm not. I don't try to be comp. I just try to be good. I try to win. I'm super competitive. But I feel like if you can get good at 1v1s, you'll be fine in every other game mode. So that's like my way of practicing, my way of getting better, is I play 1v1s. Now, I'm gonna give you guys probably about 3 builds. Up first, the best type of build I feel like for the 1v1s is any type of two-way scoring build. You want to have a little bit of ball handle. You want to be able to score whatever way you decide, whether that's finishing, shooting, and then you want to be able to play some defense. Of course, you got to be able to play defense, got to have some interior or block, whatever you prefer, whatever you think helps you out the most. With these builds, you're not going to want to put too much pass accuracy into them, like, because you could take these builds into the park, but I kind of like to make builds for specific game modes, I'm not gonna lie. But the best example would be my two-way three-point shot hunter that I showed you guys in the last video. That build has got the layup, it's got the three-point shooting, it's got the ball handle, it's got the defense, and it's got the physicals to go with it. I feel like that's the perfect type of 1v1 build to make for someone who isn't the best dribbler or the best defender or know how to generate their own bucket, for you to learn the game and understand how you can get a bucket on this game. So I feel like that's number one, the best type of 1v1 build. Up next, we got the floor spacing slasher. And this build right here, honestly, this is a little bit more for if you're skilled defensively. If you can get away with having lower perimeter defense, this build is going to be nasty, I'm not gonna lie. If you are good at this game and you can play defense without having high perimeter, the floor spacing slasher, any type of build like that, a build that can dunk at a high volume and shoot the 3-ball at a high volume while being able to dribble, play a little bit of defense. Now, you do have to make the build correctly, because you still want a little bit of defense. You got to have a little bit of something. I like to keep the chase down block on my builds, especially in this 2K24. I kept the chase down block in almost all my builds, if I'm being honest, just because it really helps out when you're trying to run back down to the basket, whether you got bronze, chase down, silver, gold, or Hall of Fame. I feel like it really helps out a lot. So with this build, you can try to go with the high drive and dunk with a lower three-pointer, but you kind of want to try to balance it out with what you feel like works best for you. So if you know you can't shoot with a lower three-pointer, then don't give yourself a low three-pointer, obviously. Try to give yourself a higher three-pointer with a little bit of a lower drive and dunk, because the thing about drive and dunk is as long as you can get by your defender, you'll be able to get a dunk. So that's really important to me. Just try to balance it out a little bit. Even if you want to add a little bit of defense, take one or the other down, or sacrifice a little bit of playmaking if you know how to dribble, definitely do that with this build. It's the perfect 1v1 build. I think these builds are they're just nasty. This is the build I ended up playing on like the rest of the year. I rocked it out with this build heavy. Like my floor space and slasher was just a demon. Like I feel like I was not losing on this build much. I was shooting 70+% on this build, and that's no Zen, by the way. Yeah, I was letting it go, and this build was just disgusting. I had barely any perimeter, but I did have chase down and interior because it's a 1v1 build, and it just helps this build out tremendously. Like I made the build really fast and sacrificed my perimeter and a couple of other things on defense. That way I can get the chase downs, or I can fight and make my way back to the paint to get a stop. So I think that's another one of them builds where you can kind of make it, and you got to balance each other out. But if you can learn how to play with a little bit less perimeter or a little bit less ball handle, and you give yourself more finishing and shooting, the build's going to be nasty. So that's one of the best 1v1 builds also. Last but not least, we got the big bully guards. I kind of like to go on that. They're like the 6'7s, the 6'8s. What I like to do is I like to make my 6'7", 6'8s. I like them to have post control, a little bit of defense, a lot of block, because on these builds I sacrifice my ball handle. Why? Because you kind of have to, since they're taller. So I'll let go of the ball handle, but I love to keep my shooting high. So I like to keep a high mid-range, help me get some badges, and then I like to have the three-pointer in a range where I know I can work with it. That's one thing about this game. You're going to have to find out what you can work with on this game. So that's why I say you got to take your time, play around in like practice mode, like the freestyle 2KU stuff with the NBA players, with the lower three-pointers and all that stuff, so you can see what you can work with. Always play on Hall of Fame. And it's just going to help you out so much. But I like to make these big bully guards, I give them post control, I give them strength. They're pretty much like a park big, I would say, like a 6'7" with rebounding, with some perimeter, a high block, not like too high, like 78 and up, trying to get like silver chase down at least. And like I said, I'm not saying make these builds on 2K25, but what I am saying is you can kind of maneuver around and use these as templates for what you want to make on 2K25. I'm not saying take this exact build and try to make it on 2K25. It's not going to work. But this is what I would do. I like to give them a little bit of mid-range, give them a little bit of ball handling. So I know that we're not going to get ripped all the time. Give them the post control. That way, if I am getting ripped, I can go into the post, play out of the post hop shots, post spins, all that good stuff out the post. Give them a little bit of layup or some finishing, whatever you feel like you can work with. Definitely try to get it into that build. And I feel like that's one of the best 1v1 builds. These three right here that I just gave you are fire. Definitely try using them. Try to make something around them if you're a 1v1 player. I am a 1v1 player. Once again, I like to play 1v1s. I feel like that's how you get really good at this game. If you can play 1v1s and you can win consistently, it's only going to make you nastier in every other game mode. Now up next, we got the best type of park guards. So for park, it depends whether you're playing 2s or 3s, but they kind of all range the same. I'm gonna give you two builds that I think will work really well in park, and then it kind of goes off of what your teammates have. If you're playing with randoms, you can kind of stick with the 1v1 type of builds and put a little bit of pass accuracy so you're not a liability. But up first, for a park guard, I like the little smaller guards. I like the little 6'3", 6'4" that can shoot really well, put some passing on them, a little bit of defense. You don't need too much defense because you got teammates. And then if you need finishing, put a little bit of finishing so that way you can get blow-bys whenever you need it to. I'm a 3-point shot hunter, but you guys can take these builds and make them how you want. That's my #1 priority when making a build. I'm never gonna tell you guys to make my exact build. I feel like you should always make a build how you want it to be. Do not just see like a content creator's build and go make it, because it might not work for you the way that it works for them. They may have mastered the game in a way that they like to play, and you can't replicate that. So always make your build how you want it to be. But if you're going to play park and you're going to make a guard, you kind of want to go with the like anywhere from like 6'3" to 6'6" with a little bit of pass accuracy. I like to put a little bit of defense, but if you got teammates, you don't have to worry about putting too much defense. If you're a heavy scorer on your team, then you don't have to worry about putting defense. So just kind of think of what you want to do. Do you want to be a finisher? Do you want to be a shooter? Or do you want to do both and sacrifice something else? Because you're always going to have to sacrifice something. So just keep that in mind. And my second type of guard build for park is going to be like a 2 guard. So the reason I say a 2 guard is because you're going to be like a secondary ball handler, but you're going to be able to shoot. You're going to be able to finish. You're going to be able to defend. And I feel like the 2 guards kind of get slept on a lot because those 2 guards are really good builds. You could put a little bit of passing into them. Once again, that 2-way 3-point shot hunter that I made, that's the perfect 1 or 2 guard. You can play with a ball dominant point guard, sit corner, or you can, if your guard is getting boxed and you got a weaker defender on you, you can have that 2 guard and you can cook the weaker defender and get your buckets, shooting threes, finishing however you like to do it. So it's kind of like a chess match. It all depends on who you're playing with, but that's the best type of builds for park as far as the guards. Now for rec, if you're going to be a guard, once again, you got to know, do you want to be a 1 guard or do you want to be a 2 guard? So the best type of point guard for rec, first off, you got to have that pass accuracy. If you don't have that pass accuracy, don't even walk in the rec as a point guard, because if you're playing random rec or if you're even playing with a team, you're just going to be a liability since you can't pass the ball. And also know what your strengths are. If you aren't a good passer, don't try to walk in a rec with a build where you don't have that much pass accuracy and they're counting on you to be the playmaker. You can't do that. You don't want to be a liability to your teammates. You still want to win games. You know, you want to be a valuable option on your team. So the 1 guards for rec, I like to do, once again, anywhere from 6'3", maybe 6'2", up to 6'6". It's probably going to change in 2K25. I feel like the smaller guards might be a little bit better this year. But if I was going to make a rec build, what I would do is I try to give them a higher midi. I try to give them a decently high 3-pointer. I wouldn't even worry too much about perimeter defense. I'd give them just enough so I'm not too much of a liability. No interior, no block, because you got 4 other teammates on the court. So you're not relied on to get perimeter stops or to get a stop in the paint. So you kind of want to be a pretty much primary scorer if you're going to make a 1 guard. You want to be a primary scorer and you want to be able to pass the ball so you can dot your open teammates. You got guys in the corner, if they're helping, if you're cooking and they help, you got to be able to make those passes. So always put the pass accuracy, and once again, balance your build out how you feel like it'll work best for you. Whether that's more finishing, more shooting, mid-range, 3-pointer, dunking, layups. You know, maybe you want to go in here and you want to be able to do floaters. Maybe you want to go in here, shoot mid-range jumpers, fade the mid-range jumpers, shoot step back middies. You know, just think about those things when you're making your build, but do understand if you're going to be a point guard, you need to be a scorer and be able to play make at a high level if you're going to be playing rec. Now, last for the rec, I also recommend our 2 guards. So 2 guards, once again, you don't have to worry too much about pass accuracy, but you want to be able to score either, whether that's shooting the 3 or finishing at the rack, being able to spot up, being able to play defense. I feel like a lot of people make 2 guards and they don't really put defense on them, but the 2 guard is usually like a scorer and the defender. So just think about that when you're making your build. Think about, once again, how you want to score, you kind of want to be more of a spot up. I wouldn't say you want to be more of a shot creator. So just think about putting a little bit more defense, a little bit of finishing, a little bit of shooting, so you can spot up, be open whenever your one guard gets the ball to you. And then of course having that defense so you can box up. Say your point guard's getting cooked, y'all can switch, you can box up that point guard. So I think those are the best type of guard builds you can make for park, rec, 1v1s. And on top of that, you can take all those builds almost into any game mode, really. If you've got defense on a build, you could take them into the 1v1s. If you've got defense, or not even defense, if you've got high scoring abilities, you're going to be able to take them into the park. You can go into the 1v1s if you feel like you can get away with having low defense. But all of these builds are very viable to play in the park, which I know a lot of people play, which is why they make my players. But then again, you also got the rec. And in the rec, if you're going to be a point guard, you got to choose one of the two, whether you want to be a scoring guard or do you want to be the help side guard, like a secondary ball handler. So just think about those things. Those are some of my best builds that I like to make, how I like to go about things, what I'm going to be looking at making. Once again, I'm going to be streaming as soon as the game comes out. I kid you guys not. I'm not going to play that game at all without the stream up. So as soon as it comes out, the stream will be booted up. You're going to see me in play now, shooting around with Steph Curry, shooting with Klay Thompson, playing with Luka, like playing with all the builds that fit my play style, so I can see how the game works and see what animations I kind of like. That's another thing I like to do, is play that 2KU freestyle so I can see what animations are nice, how the game moves around, if I can shoot with the lower three-pointer, if I can shoot with a higher three-pointer. You're going to see all that. You're going to see me take my sweet time in the builder. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm going to be taking my sweet time in the builder. People are going to be making builds day one, and they're going to be out in the park playing. You're going to see me freaking 20 hours in and might not have a build. Like, I'm going to be in the builder, learning the builder, trying to make sure I make the perfect build, because I don't like to waste money, and I don't want to waste money on a build. I'm going to make plenty builds, but I don't want to waste any money on any build this year. So once again, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.